Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute. Yeah, working. I haven't had videos. Here we are. Video going out. But let's get into it. We're doing Assassin's Creed and we're doing a final review. I have buried some hours into the game, right? I've done over 9 days worth, and that might not seem like a lot. But for me, someone who's a full-time a casual gamer, that is a lot. It's burying so many games right now. So yeah, I've spent a solid chunk of time with Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I think I'm at a point now where I'm in the end game and I can talk to you about it. So today I'm going to break it down, clean and simple. We're looking at theme. So by theme, I'm essentially talking about, the character, the lore, what the characters, the lore, world we're in. I said a world, like the theme of the world. So we're in Japan. The history of the story and whatnot. The sound design, we're going to look at that. These are all factors that I put into play when I do my rating system. Gameplay, and the big one, how it actually feels, how it makes me feel when I play it. So no fluff, no filler. Let's go. So I'm going to start with theme, to be honest. So for me, when I'm talking about theme, I'm just going to dive into what I actually mean by theme, and I'll give it a small brief exploration. But what do I actually mean by theme? So to kick off, essentially, what I've rounded it down to, I've already mentioned characters before. Story itself, story we play through, these dual protagonists. Towards the end now, we're sort of, I've got Templar gear because I'm now finally killing off Templar stuff. So the lore, the world that we're in, the music that accompanies it, and this kind of falls in. I've got 3 different categories, right? We've got theme, graphics, sound design, and they all sort of lead into each other. So graphics essentially going to be the graphics of the game, the atmosphere, the world that we're in. Sound design, essentially going to tie those together, isn't it, really? With soundtrack as well, and how that soundtrack fits. But we'll start with the actual theme. So, Shadows leans hard into the late Sengoku era of Japan. Okay? That choice does a lot of heavy lifting. You've got a world torn between the old ways, a country trying to stabilize itself, and the game nails that sense of tension. Dual protagonists, one shinobi, one samurai, 2 very different cultural perspectives, and when the game leans into that contrast, it actually really shines. So when we look at the characters, we'll dive into this in the gameplay a bit more, but these are 2 very different characters, and they play very different styles that sort of fit who they are as a character. I know, and right, let's be honest with this, right? It's grounded but stylized, just enough to stay in thing. It's not 100% historical, right? It's not, and it's not full-on fantasy either. It sits in that sweet spot that Assassin's Creed games always have played with. So obviously, Yasuke is based off some form of a historical context, right? But it depends what way you lean. That's why I'm going to describe it. Okay? So, Yasuke is based off some form of a historical context, right? Now, whether there are texts that refer to Yasuke, but whether... But yeah, I'll leave you to look into who Yasuke was that era, and it's quite an interesting read. You should look into it. I'm not going to dive into it here because it's going to take me forever, and I'm trying to keep this review a little less long than the last one. The last one was an hour. Let's try and whittle this down to a steady half hour, hopefully. So yeah, and then you also play as Nae, who is Shinobi, so basically ninja. You've got a samurai and you got a ninja. You got brute force and you got stealth. And the character and the way these characters are brought together, inspired by the story and the lore. For the longest part, and I'm going to jump into lore, and it sort of jumps into gameplay as well. So for me, the part of Assassin's Creed lore has always been the Animus, being the outer world, and this is where the game is going to dive down a little bit from here. It's missing a vital part of Assassin's Creed for me. A vital part of Assassin's Creed for me is being able to come out of the Animus, explore the modern day world that Assassin's Creed. That is missing from the game. Now, I've not looked into why they didn't decide to put that in, but for me that is a vital part of Assassin's Creed. Being able to play as Desmond himself. Black Flag. I genuinely thought like it was so innovative how they did that. Wasn't a game like it. And I think they've really missed a trick by not bringing that into this game, by not developing a story and a lore for that person outside of this game. At no point have I gone into a different world on this game. And I think it's important to mention that they should have had that in this game, and I really hope that they find a time or a place to bring that back. But in terms of the story, I've enjoyed the story so far, and I'm gonna break this down for you, right? When I first started this game, I started playing it just the dubbed version. I didn't enjoy it. I played 3 hours and I didn't enjoy it, right? This is essentially, it's going to be a gameplay choice, but this comes down to story and lore for me. The total immersion that I've had with the story is by playing the immersion mode, where it's in Japanese and I'm reading the subtitles. That has immersed me into this game so much more than what it was when I was doing the dubbed version. The dubbed version just made the character models seem false. And we'll bring into this whole theme of atmosphere and sound design and stuff. When you don't play the immersion one, the immersion one's there for a reason, and I think the immersion version should be default. And then if you English dubbed one, you can. I think that's the way they should have done it, but they haven't. So I'll leave that with you. You make that decision for yourselves, okay? But yeah, the immersion version is what made it for me. The mood of the theme is super strong, right? Mood is heavy. The violence feels meaningful. Constant sense of unrest in every region you visit. And in comparison to the previous 3 titles, it really hits the spot for me. So in terms of theme, the characters, story, and the lore couldn't get any better. This is my favourite kind of lore. In gaming, like I love stuff to do with historical Japanese context. I've been thoroughly interested in. I was also heavily interested in Origins, Egyptian, and those were the kind of things that we sort of looked at school in my day. So yeah, I had peak interest in getting this game and playing it. Yeah, so this is one of the game's biggest wins, right? And that sort of leads us into graphic, right? Visually, Shadows is a mixed bag, but it's mostly positive, in all honesty with you. The landscapes are stunning. We've got forests, rice fields, misty valleys, castle towns, all look gorgeous, right? Lighting is where the game does some serious flexing. Sunrise through bamboo, lantern-lit villages, rain-slicked rooftops, it just hits, right? And you will see plenty of this in this video, right? I've got clips of this game in sunlight, evening light, the snow with the rain. You know, you'll see all of it as you watch through this video. The graphics hit. Character models, they're good. They're not jaw-dropping. They've done something with hair, and the hair looks super cool, and I really enjoy. You know, in the actual cutscenes and animations, I think the hair looks decent, right? And I think that's a step forward, and it's something different from Ghost of Tsushima. But that is definitely better in terms of graphics. There's a lot of other things as well that is just better than what Ghost of Tsushima has to offer. So whatever you make of that, that's what I'm telling you. Okay. What did I just do? There we go. So animations, they're also really good. The sword play looks fantastic. Stealth animations, some feel old school. They feel like how the game used to play. You can't go wrong with that. Everyone loved the old school Assassin's Creed, and that's where we should be at. Performance can dip in hectic areas, especially on console, and that is something that they've been working on. That's something that they've progressed with updates throughout the game, throughout the game's life cycle. But when the game looks good, and it looks really good 90% of the time, you're going to grab a ton of screenshots without even trying. I've got loads of random screenshots, and most of them I use for thumbnails. If you've seen a few of those, and I'm just going to go straight into sound design. So that's my second sort of section, and I'm going to jump straight to sound design. You might think I've missed something, and there probably are parts I could go into with graphics and stuff like that, but I'm just going to keep moseying on because I don't need to go into full detail. You just want to know the bare basics from me. And I want to sort of tie these areas in together. So with the sound design, right? It all fits. This whole thing of theme, and the whole thing of theme is brought together via the atmosphere that's created by these three packages. So the story and the lore, the graphics and the atmosphere, the sound design just further adds to that atmosphere. So the sound design, I'd say, deserve a bit more credit than they're getting. I think Steel and Steel Clashes sound sharp and weighty. Footsteps on wood, stone, mud are all distinct. The weather audio is top tier. The rain especially. Recently I was playing a Thunderstorm and I thought it was class. I thought the wet look, shine. Again, going back to graphics, the wet look, shine looked fantastic. So they really, really did work with weather in both sound design and graphically, and it looks great. Like crawling through snow, the sound of crawling through the snow, and the look of the crawling through the snow, it hits right. They've done a really good job, and they've done better than a lot of games in recent history. The voice acting is solid, although it's a bit uneven with NPCs. And the dubbed versions, right? It's a dubbed version. It's like watching a dubbed film. Dubbed version isn't always 100% amazing. Let's be honest. No dubbed film has ever been amazing. So as long as you're sticking with the immersion one, I think you'll have a good time with it and you'll enjoy it. If you play the dubbed version, I think you're going to lose a lot of satisfaction with the game. And I'm throwing that out there now. If I'd have played this whole game in the dub version, I probably would have put it down. Again, this is a recurring theme. I keep coming back to how the dub version really ruins the game for me. But anyway, the soundtrack. There we touched on those things. I'm going to jump to soundtrack. This is one... Oh, hold on. So the soundtrack itself blends together traditional Japanese instruments with the dark tones of AC. And what I want to say is this is a much more muted version of Assassin's Creed for me. The soundtrack, a lot of the time the themes ring really true. And you can really hear it throughout the majority of the games, whereas I don't feel like you can on this one. I feel like it's very muted. And it's there. But you wouldn't pick it up, you wouldn't notice it. It does feel very much in the background in terms of the soundtrack. But it's one of those soundscapes that carries the atmosphere on its back with this game. Shadows feels alive largely because of its audio detail, as well as how it looks and sits graphically, right? I think it all works. That's those three areas that sort of bring theme all wrapped up in one, boxed off. But yeah, I've got two other sort of factors that I sort of work from after that point. And one of those is gameplay and game design. Ooh, and by that, I mean... Say what I mean. Got it written down, basically. Going back. So, gameplay and game design essentially is the core loop of the game. Like, we all know what gameplay is, but I'm breaking it down into what that means to me. It can mean something different to everyone. Everyone's got a general consensus of gameplay. It means how the game plays. But for me, yeah, it's core loop, the mechanics, pacing and the progression, combat, traversal systems, mission design, options and menus, the difficulty balance, and how that gameplay fits the theme and the world building, basically. And I've done that down. But for me, well, do you know what? I'll go with everyone else, right? For everyone else, it's hit or miss. It's been like Marmite. This is where opinions have got a bit louder. But we've got the dual protagonist. And it's a cool idea, but it's had a mixed execution. Contrast between the loud samurai combat, white shinobi stealth is personally for me great. I've really enjoyed swapping and changing between the two characters. However, a lot of people really haven't enjoyed playing as Yasuke. Now this is an opinion. This is what I think. I think some people did want to play as Nae. Didn't want to play as a female protagonist. They wanted to play as Yasuke. Yasuke is a pretty cool dude to play as. But Yasuke really lacks the mechanics to be an assassin, like those of old, like the Ezio's. Essentially, he will not live up to those tactics. He can barely climb. Trying to hide with him is far more difficult. Whereas with Nae, he's got all the attributes to be class assassin, a little bit weaker. You can't take on a whole fort with Nae without taking a lot of damage and probably use a lot of your rations, whereas with Yasuke you can take on a whole fort and probably use 2 rations, but you're fighting all the time. And the swapping between them isn't always as smooth or as meaningful as it could have been. However, it's a downside lot better than the original way of doing it, right? So initially, the way we would swap between 2 characters would have been... let's just take Eivor, for example. You go into the menu and you change his gender to male or female. Or same with Odyssey, you could change the gender of the character, or you assign the gender of the character. Whereas with this, you have 2 different protagonists to play as. Personally, for me, I have really enjoyed the freedom to choose between the 2 because it depends on my mood of the day. My mood of the day determines who I want to play as. If I want to go in and be a bit stealthy and a bit more tactical with things and I've got a bit more of a brain on, then I can go and play as Nae and I can think about what I want to do, think about how I want to assassinate. Do I want one-time assassination? Do I, want to lure them out? Whereas with Yasuke, I know if I'm on a day where I feel like just going and smashing the crap out of stuff, I can come in as Yasuke and have a ball. Just running through doors, beating a load of people up, basically. So for me, I really enjoyed it. For a lot of other people, they did not. So that sort of essentially brings us to combat, doesn't it? Samurai combat hits hard, heavy swings, brutal finishes, and weighty impact. Shinobi combat is flashier, but can feel a bit floaty, a bit, you know, like the shots aren't hitting. Takes it a bit longer to get the kills. And the enemies themselves come in solid variety. There's quite a bit of variety. However, towards the end, the repetition does feel like it creeps in. A lot of the... Once you've sort of been around every area, the combat will just feel very repetitive. And it's no different to the other Assassin's Creeds. It doesn't matter. And I think that's important that it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, when we were playing Assassin's Creed before, we were... Ezio and stuff, that's the point. We were destroying anything in our path, taking on 20 AI in one go. I don't necessarily think that matters. I think it's just about having fun with it and feeling invincible, feeling like a superhero even though you're just an assassin. I think that's probably what made some of the older games just... This one dude was awesome as... It's just such a cool character, and you just go through 20 people in one go. Like, you felt like John Wick, but, you know, assassin. So it didn't matter about the difficulty of the AI for me. And it hasn't mattered for me in this game. Okay, and I'm going to move on because I could talk about this for hours. Stealth. Classic AC with some more tools. Not perfect, but functional, right? It's not perfect because you don't have access to all the tools. You have to play as one or the other to gain access to particular tools. So it's not like Connor from Assassin's Creed 3. Connor had the ability to switch between loads of different tools. He had so much accessibility. Whereas with this, you have to play as one or the other to sort of gain access to those. However, you have this added extra thing with the abilities of the allies that you have with you. They bring an extra... I can't remember if they had it in the last game, but that brought something new for me in this game. I actually quite enjoyed that. I thought that was quite interesting to bring to it, and it is useful. And if you pick the right ones, it can help you in certain instances. So it's definitely worth looking into that. And I think that's something great that they've added, and I would like to see that again going forward from them. Open world, there's a good amount of side content. And some filler. Right, now the problem with the previous Assassin's Creed is they have all been far too repetitive, and they just didn't lead anywhere. Less so with Valhalla. I felt with Valhalla there was a little bit more direction with it, and it made a little bit more sense. And it's similar with this. However, towards the end, once you're 9 days in, it does feel repetitive, but I'm not overly fussed by it, right? Exploration on this one is the fun part. Platforming, sneaking, climbing forts. And I think, coupled with the region's rotation and weather changes, it just adds such a ton of vibe. Like, the most repetitive things are the sort of little random side events that you get on the side of the road, where you can sort of get, you know, there's like a couple of guards harassing a person. Or it's like the anomaly stuff, but at least you're getting something from the anomaly stuff, whereas with like the previous games, you weren't getting a lot from going about the world, essentially. And then I'll jump onto systems. Crafting is simple. The RPG elements are toned down from Odyssey and Valhalla, and I kind of like that. It would be nice if they bought like the rare animal hunting back, like you fight the bear or something in the corner. But yeah, the whole crafting thing from Valhalla got a bit too intense, maybe a bit too much. But did they need to take away the like rare animal things? You know, the rare animal stuff was no different from the boat battles on Black Flag or anything like that. And I do find them occasionally, they could have put one in, you know, a cheeky Easter egg with an achievement from it. That wouldn't have been, you know, too harsh for them to have done it. But they've done away with it. Haven't noticed it much? No, not really. Has it affected my gameplay? No. Maybe those who are like proper achievement focused may have missed it, but there's so much on this to do already that I just don't think it was necessary, so I've not really missed it. Skill trees are clean and straightforward. It's just easy to understand and easy work. Overall, it's fun. Gameplay loop works, but there are some flaws. And we're basically coming in to the end now. Okay, and so the final factor for me is the fun feeling. The real bottom line, is it fun? So yeah, when it hits, it absolutely is. I have dived 9.5 days into it. When I say time, how the time has affected my gamepad, I haven't just dove. When I was younger and I was playing the old Assassin's Creed, sit in front of my TV downstairs, big screen TV, I would invest hours a day. Sometimes I'd play it all day. I'd stop for a snack, then I'd stop for my dinner, but then I'd still be on it, and I'd probably be on it till about 3 a.m. And I'd go to sleep and get up at 10 and then play it again, day again. I would absolutely smash the hours in. Now I'm an adult and I'm living for myself, and I can't quite do that. So for me, there's been different ways of. I've obviously had to adapt my gaming style these days. There's different ways of me playing these days. So I might have 30 minutes before work, and my that will then adapt my play style. Now this doesn't suit some people. They just want to play as now an assassin, or some people might just want to play as Yasuke. But for me, I've got 30 minutes. Do I want to be tactful and think loads and take on a fort, you know, by, you know, sneaking about, being stealthy with it, or just sneaking through and killing the bosses in that base and then getting the thing? No. If I've got 30 minutes before work, I'm going to play as Yasuke, I'm going to smash through the front door, I'm going to go around and kill everyone within 15 minutes, reap the rewards, head back to my main base, upgrade my equipment, and then save, right? If I'm playing before bed, do I want to be so aggressive and alert? No, I probably want to chill out a bit more, jump into the exploration of the game, do some more of the relaxing activities on it. And some of them are really relaxing. So the meditation stuff you do with Naue, that will get you. Like there's been times where I fell asleep to the game whilst doing that. Numerous occasions, a lot of occasions where that has happened for. But yeah. Yeah, there's so many different ways of playing this and playstyles for me. So it's relaxing in that wander through Japan and get lost in the vibe way. But I've also found it engaging where you're deep in combat and sneaking into a fortress. There's enough variety that this game just doesn't burn out quickly. Again, like I said, I've had 9.5 days of playing it over a scale of months. So I can't always play games, fortunately. This is the one game that I've been picking up repeatedly. So I was also started playing Avowed. I started playing the Oblivion remaster, playing Hogwarts Legacy, and none of them I've picked back up because I'm more bothered about playing this. I'm coming back to this time and time again. I think that's telling you a lot about how this game sits with me in terms of variety of playstyles and how I want to play and what I want to do in any. Does it have rush edges? Yes, it does. Does it feel like Assassin's Creed again? Yes. 100% it feels like I'm playing Assassin's Creed again, just with new innovations, and new styles and new character to it. Have I been spotted? Or am I like fully out of the picture? By the time you sunk hours into this, the atmosphere really settles in. And it's a game you can slip into exploration or just as much as the story. So this game for me has been really, really fun. And I would thoroughly recommend this. If you put down Assassin's Creed after playing the last few and thought, oh, I'm not even going to bother. Saw a few bad reviews from some salty people. Well, one thing I would always advise is give it a go yourself. Don't always rely on a streamer. Don't always rely on a review. You can get Ubisoft Plus for $15.99 for the month, and you can just give it a month's worth. I've made the dreadful mistake of doing that, and then not completing the game for months and months and months on end. So I've paid more like 120 quid for a game than I could have paid 60 quid for. So yeah, just bear in mind, if you do like the game, you're then probably better off paying for the actual game, unless you think you can get it completed within the month. If you've got more free time to complete the game, get it on Ubisoft Plus subscription, right? That's it, guys. That's my full breakdown. Assassin's Creed Shadows nails its theme, looks gorgeous in the right moments, sounds incredible, and delivers a gameplay loop that's fun, even if it's not perfect. It's got flaws. Every game's always got its flaws, but it's got heart, and it left me wanting more time in this world. Okay, that's the most important thing. I keep wanting to come back to this game. I'm going to leave it there today, guys. I did say I was going to keep this review shorter than the last, so here we go. If you enjoyed the review, please drop your thoughts. Tell me how the game hits for you. Or, you know, stick around on the channel. Look at more videos. Look at some of the playthroughs I've done. Look at some of the other reviews. That's me done, and I'll see you on the next one. Drop a like, drop a subscribe if you want to see more and whatnot. You know the score anyway. And I'll catch you guys on the next one, which will hopefully be sometime soon, because I'm coming up towards the end of this work pattern I'm on. So hopefully mid-December, start of Jan, I'm definitely going to bring back a regular stream schedule. But yeah, see you on the next one, guys. Thank you very much.